refuge since her 6th grade year, which will make it 7 years. And I am not sure, she maybe missed 2 Wednesdays or whatever day it fell on. She has been awesome. I am going to miss her. I know you're going to miss her, but she's going to talk to you about her pole vaulting experience and tied into faith. But Sean's going to give us a little pole vault highlight, 1.5 minutes of her pole vaulting years. So here we go.
I was down, but now I'm up. Yeah, it's all God. This ain't no lie. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that mud. Yeah, I was down, but now I'm up. I was down, but now I'm up. It's all God. This ain't no lie. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that mud. Yeah, I was down, but now I'm up. Like my name Lazarus, no Satan gon' be mad at this. I had to ask my dad if it's okay to swing my bat at this. He said, boy, if I picture this out of the park, moving so quick it's like they stuck in park. They see the numbers, but I see the heart. 10,000 hours he spit in the dark, putting in good work, even though he didn't even know that it would work. Talking about a man who grew up in woodwork, do it for the love of it, that's what it should work. I know some people gon' look at me crazy and I'm like, for what? Man, I was stuck, I was down, but now I'm up. It's all God, this ain't no love. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Maggie Johnson.
Hey everyone! I am so excited to get to talk to you guys tonight about pole vaulting and Jesus, 2 of my favorite things. So, anywho, you guys got to see a whole range of my jumps, from the lowest to the highest to that whole range. And so a lot of people, if you don't know about pole vaulting, there's a lot of people who don't get over 5 feet. They struggle, it is hard. But then there are some people who can jump over 12, 13, 14. Olympic people jump over 16 feet for girls. Guys are higher than that. It's crazy. There's such a wide range of different skills. There's also in faith a lot of different range in beliefs and opinions and views and relationships with God. You might have the Christian who doesn't really know much about who God is. They come to church every once in a while and they're like, I don't really know anything that I believe in. But then you might have the Christian who is devoted to God, who has a personal relationship, who's really close, and you just see Jesus in them. That's a big difference. There's a big range. And why is there such a big range between those two? I'm going to talk about it in pole vault terms, and I'm going to have 3 C's tonight to talk about the reason why that I've seen through my pole vaulting that there's a gap in these different heights. So we're going to be talking about clearing the bars of faith, and the first one I'm going to be talking about is coaching. This is a big difference maker in pole vault, because pole vault, as you saw, has a lot going on with it. There's so much that goes in, you have to plant it right, you got to swing up right, and if you don't know what you're doing, the odds are you're going to do terrible. It's hard. It's not something you can learn easily on your own. I have an example of this one girl I met pole vaulting, and her school did not have a coach. And so she realized the need for a coach. And she sought out a coach, and she went to this coach when she could to get all of the help she could, because she knew that was a difference maker. But she didn't have that full-time coach like I did, who was there every practice to tell me how to do it, to help me through, who was there at every meet. And honestly, I think she could have jumped higher if she had what I had, which is that all that time coaching. And so in our faith, it's the same thing. If you think that you can learn it on your own, you can get somewhere, but you're not going to be able to clear those high bars. Your faith is something that you need to listen to others. You need to experience. There's a Bible verse I'm going to show you. Does anyone want to read it? Yeah.
Listen to advice and accept discipline, and at the end you will count it among the lost. Proverbs 19:20.
When I think of the best, not the best Christians, the deepest faith Christians, they are wise. They know what they're talking about. They know who God is. They know who they are. And so to get there, this verse is telling us that we have to listen and we need to accept discipline. We need to realize that we don't have it all together. that there are people who know more than us, who can help us along in our journey, and that it's okay. And it helps. So our coaches as Christians are youth pastors, like my dad, or if you've ever been to church on Sunday, Pastor Hard can give you some good messages through his sermons, or even small groups, or at schools, Christian clubs, or even Christian friends, just people who may know more than you about Christ, who can help you along and discipline you and stretch you. And so that concludes our first C. And what was our first C?
Coaching.
Yeah, okay. So now we're on to our second C, competition. This hits a little close to home because in pole vaulting, my first meet, I got 10-4, which is really good. Like, I was like, holy cow, this is so good. I did not get much higher than 10-4 the rest of the season. And something that I think really contributes to that is that no one else I was jumping against got 10-4. They were all jumping like 8 feet, 9 feet. But in the meets, like I'd win, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm done. I'm good enough. I'm happy where I'm at. And I would try, but I wouldn't have to try because it's like, I already won it. Until I got to regionals and states, the biggest 2 meets. Then I actually got my butt a little bit whooped. Like, there were other people who knew more than what they were doing, and I got the pressure. Like, I let the pressure get to me. I got a little stressed. Like, I could have done better if I had put myself in a place where I could have had more competition. So if I had people pushing me who were better than me, it would have helped a lot. With faith, people do this often, that they put themselves around people who don't really know much about what they believe. And that's okay, but when you surround yourself against a bunch of people who maybe don't even believe in God, or don't really know much about the Bible, and you've been going to church and you know maybe a few Bible verses, you might be feeling pretty good about yourself. You're like, I know my stuff, I'm good enough. But then when those big meets come around, the big meets of life, which is like the scary things like loneliness, or your family having issues, or your grades tank, everything goes wrong, that faith is going to be tested. And was that faith pushed when it needed to be? Or was it okay being just mediocre because they thought your faith felt like it was doing enough? So it matters who you surround yourself with. It's healthy. We have a Bible verse. Another one, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. You gotta put yourself with someone who's equal or greater in their faith so that they can sharpen you. If you're not challenged, your faith isn't gonna be pushed, and it's gonna stay the same. And it's not gonna be in the place that you want it to be. And maybe it's a deep enough faith, but it's not gonna get to that next level. I know I would have loved to have gotten to that next level of pole vault, because I was so close but so far. And so to do that extra step in your faith to get to that next level, it's so worth it. So, first 2 points.
Coaching.
Yes, and then
Competition.
Yay! Okay, so we're moving on to our third point, which is commitment. So, you may have coaching, you may have competition, but do you have what it takes to put them all together? I want to talk about 4 different types of pole vaulters that I have seen through my seasons. The first one is the person who shows up, and they're like, oh, this is going to be easy. They try it, it's actually kind of hard. And they're like, this is too much work. And so they'll come on a few weeks, maybe even last a month or 2, but they're still not seeing the progress they want. They're not enjoying it, and then they quit. They're done. They're like, this is too hard. The second type of pole vaulter is the one who thugs it out for the season. They put in the work, they might do pretty good, but then they realize, I don't know if this is worth it. I'm not seeing what I want. I think this is too much of a time commitment, so they might not come back the next year. They're done with pole vault. The third type, I have a story about this that is a little sad, but not bad. But the third type is the person who shows up and is really good at it, their first try. And you probably know who I'm about to talk about. But they show up, it's easy. They might do really good. There's this one guy on the track team who he pulled up and he was really good at pole vault. He did his freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. His first 3 years he did amazing. Sophomore and junior year he made it to the state championship, which is the hardest to get to meet, and he did great. Senior year junior year it started too. He got a little bit big for his britches and he thought he had it all together. He thought he didn't need to come to practices as much. He stopped putting in the work and it started to show. And he had the potential, he was good enough to do it, but he didn't have the commitment. And so when it came time to regionals, the meet that gets you to states, he no-highted. He didn't make it. senior year, and his season ended there on such a low note. And he could have done so much more. So, the fourth type of pole vaulter I'm going to talk about is I'd like to consider myself one of these pole vaulters because I stuck with it. It might be hard, it might be challenging, but you have the reason to stick with it. You know that it's going to pay off, and you stick with it, you put in the work, you take the time, and you get to the place you want to be, and you see the growth that you can see, and you just lock in no matter what. So how does this go to faith? Faith is also like that you can try it out, maybe it seems too hard and you give up, but you're not going to get anywhere in it. Or maybe you thug it out for a little bit and then you give up. Or maybe you dive right into faith and it feels really good, but then you think you're at the point where you've peaked. I want to talk a little bit about that peaking point where you think you put in enough work for faith. Faith is a relationship. Like there's God. It's not like a bunch of rules and regulations, and it's not like you can just be like, oh, I know it all, because God wants a relationship with you. And I know I've had this kind of friend, and you guys probably have too, who you were best friends, let's say in elementary school, and then middle school rolls around, and this friend starts to distance themselves. And maybe you did everything together before, you knew everything about each other, but by middle school, this person won't even text you, they won't even snap you, they won't put any time in it, and you're not friends anymore. That's what happens with God. If you don't put in the time, if you don't seek him first, if you don't spend time with him, even if you had this close, genuine relationship, you're gonna start doubting your relationship with God because you're not gonna know him anymore. And so that commitment is so valuable in your faith, because without it, you're not gonna know where you're at. We have a verse for this one too. It's coming on up. This is what you're gonna get later for cards. First thing, there we are. Therefore, oh, anyone wanna read it? Yeah.
Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witness, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us.
So this verse is basically saying, forget about all the junk in life. Forget about all those distractions, all those things that you feel like might be better than your faith or better than seeking God, and seek him first. Run your faith with endurance. Lock in for it. See that it matters. See that it is something that's going to take time and commitment. Choose to put in the work so that you can be flying high onto those big bars and like seeing that growth, seeing that improvement. So, what were my 3 C's? Coaching, yeah. And competition and commitment, yeah. Yes! So, why does this matter? We're starting to wrap it up. But why does it matter that we're reaching these bars? Like, what's the point? I want to share a little bit about why it matters for me. I've had some times in my life where I have felt really lonely, where I have felt self-doubt, maybe even some depression, just like some darkness and like not feeling wanted and like being like, why don't people want me? What can I do more? But instead of compromising and letting those thoughts get the most of me and choosing to not be myself, I pursued God. I pursued my faith. And through it, he defined me. He gave me hope. He gave me purpose. He gave me peace and confidence and joy. And who I am today wouldn't have happened if I hadn't sought him first. And so for me, putting in that work, listening to my coaches in church and everything, and allowing myself to put myself around these amazing Christians who know what they're doing, know what they're talking about, who push me to be better, and having commitment and seeking God first, it helps me be who I am, and it's been the difference maker and that change in my life that I needed. So I think that reaching that bar, reaching that new height is something that you guys won't regret. It's something that's so valuable. It's way better than trying to fail at that 5-foot bar and looking like a fool, like not really knowing what you're talking about, coming out sometimes and being like, I don't know if this is worth it, because it's so worth it, and I love it. It's really been what's made the most for me. And so as I'm giving my little last message, I love each and every one of you guys. You're awesome. And I want to encourage you, see if it matters to you. See if this bar is something you want to do. Seek it. Try to get high in your faith so that when you're here at your senior year, you know what you're talking about. You know who God is. You know who you are, so that God can use you and shape you into the person he made you to be, which is pretty incredible. So, that's a wrap of my message.